Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Nidhi Taneja. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 20th of September. India successfully test fires long-range barricade surface-to-air missiles. Baloch leader demands end to custodial killings by Pakistan security forces. And Devotees throng India's northern Ladakh to celebrate Buddhist festival. And now for all the details. Attack in an army base on 18th of September in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir, followed by an attack on a police station on Monday and then an encounter on Tuesday. There is a growing demand for action against the terror perpetrators. A report.
Tension is high in Kashmir. After a terror attack on Sunday killed 18 soldiers and 4 gunmen, a police station near the India-Pakistan unofficial border was hit on Monday by one terrorist. And many Indians are convinced that Pakistan is responsible for the attacks.
Another terrorist attack on a police post is nothing new, but part of the same strategy in which Pakistan is wanting that Kashmir continues to boil.
Security has been stepped up along the 3,000 plus kilometer India-Pakistan border, which includes the line of control. The LOC serves as the unofficial border in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which is claimed by India and Pakistan. India says the terrorists behind Sunday's attack on the army camp had infiltrated from this heavily guarded area.
It is the Pak army which is attacking and must be replied forthwith, and replied very such a way that they do not dare to attack as such again in such a way.
As funerals for the slain soldiers take place in different parts of India, emotions are running high, with some calling for revenge.
In a bid to galvanize its air defense capabilities, India on Tuesday successfully test-fired the most advanced surface-to-air missile, Baloch 8, twice from Chandipur in India's eastern Odisha province. The missile is a product of the joint development between India's research centre Imarat and Israel Aerospace Industries. The medium-range missile can identify and hit an air target with a range of some 43.5 miles. The system also includes a multifunctional surveillance and threat alert radar for detection, tracking and guidance for the missile. Moving on, protests by exiled Kashmiri leaders and members of religious minorities in Pakistan were held in Geneva. Extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances and injustices by the Pakistan military were the primary causes of concern.
Taking a stand against Pakistan over the atrocities on the people in Balochistan, Gilgit-Baltistan and the religious minorities in the country. United Kashmir People's National Party, or the UKPNP, held a protest near the United Nations office in Geneva, asserting that Pakistan has established military courts in the country. Party chief Shaukat Ali Kashmiri said that this move is a clear violation of international law where civilians are tried by a military tribunal. Also highlighting the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or the CPEC, he said Islamabad is constructing mega dams as per the proposed project without consulting the local population.
We are deeply concerned about Pakistan's policy to use religion as weapon and terrorism as foreign policy tool, and our region as a launching pad for terrorism and training camps to suppress the secular, democratic and progressive voices of the entire region. Sedition charges against peaceful Kashmiri nationalist leaders and human rights defenders in so-called Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, nationalist leaders and political workers are facing sedition charges.
Meanwhile, the members of World Sindhi Congress also held protest to highlight the plight of their community in Pakistan. They allege a systematic design on part of the Pakistan government to convert them into a minority community.
For Sindhi people is worsening. For example, the latest reports by the international organizations, for example, 70% of Sindhi people they suffer from malnutrition. More than 7 million children under the age of 10, they are out of schools.
Pakistan is an Islamic nation with 96% of Muslim population, and incidents of targeted attacks on minorities have surfaced time and again.
Baloch Republican Party continued efforts to highlight atrocities committed by Pakistani security forces in Balochistan. A party representative at the United Nations Human Rights Council called for immediate international attention on the worsening human rights situation in the Balochistan province.
Representatives of the Baloch Republican Party at the UNHRC, Abdul Nawaz Bugti, raised the issues of enforced disappearances and custodial killings by Pakistani law enforcement agencies in Balochistan at the council. Bugti also called on the council to take immediate measures to stop the systematic genocide of ethnic Baloch people by Pakistani authorities in the southwestern province. He stated that Dera Bukti and Nasirabad areas in the province have been under continuous siege and attacks by Pakistani forces for weeks. Pakistan military has stepped up operations against the civilian populace, he added.
Gunship helicopters were used against civil populace, resulting in killing of more than 100 Baloch civilians, including women and children. 260 people, mostly women, have been abducted during the operation since 13 August. A mass grave was discovered in Sui area where 12 dead bodies of previously abducted Baloch civilians were found.
In his statement, Bugti also welcomed the statement by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi that highlighted atrocities in Balochistan and hoped that the member states of the council will follow the suit. Meanwhile, various members of Baloch Republican Party staged a protest outside the United Nations to further bring international attention. Baloch community has accused Pakistan for resorting to abuse, torture and human rights violations to crush the community's demand for independence from Pakistan.
Moving on to news from Bangladesh. More than a week after a massive fire engulfed a factory in Bangladesh which killed dozens of workers, victims' families wait for answers. A report.
Nargis stand near the site of the tobacco foils factory as evacuators and workers continue to clear the debris and waits for any news for her husband, Rafiqul. Rafiqul Islam, a father of 3, was one of the workers who were inside the factory when a massive fire erupted in the wee hours of September 10, killing at least 34 people and over 55 injured. More than a week has passed, but relatives are still looking for their loved ones or at least for their bodies.
তার লাশ কত মেডিকেল গেলাম কত জায়গা জায়গা গেলাম টঙ্গী মেডিকেল গেলাম তার লাশ দেখলাম কোন লাশে তার চিনতে পারি নাই আমি
It was not immediately known how long the investigation and search would take. One army official said it could take up to 2 months. A murder case has been filed against the owner of the tobacco foils and several other top managers over the fire, but no arrests have yet been made. Local police say they have all gone into hiding. The fire at the factory is the latest in a series of industrial accidents in the South Asian country and the worst since 1,135 garment workers were killed in the Rana Plaza building collapse in 2013.
In Nepal, the tourism industry is struggling to get back on its feet after the devastating earthquake that shook the Himalayan nation in April 2015. Local business has taken a hit as people wait for the revival of the industry.
The Nepalese tourist industry has been struggling to recover more than 1 year after the country was hit by a devastating earthquake in April 2015. Tourism is the backbone of Nepal's economy. After the earthquake, the industry's recovery has been slow and millions of people employed in the sector have been affected. The historic Darbar Square was heavily damaged during the earthquake that killed 900 people. For tour guides, this was a busy spot, but after the earthquake, numbers have dwindled.
One of the most affected area is tourism in Nepal. We lost not only the lives, but we lost the jobs of so many people who are involved in tourism. And the tourist arrival dramatically, dropped within the very short times. So we faced, especially Nepal's tourism industry faced a very huge loss in terms of revenue, in terms of tourist arrival, in terms of jobs, so many things.
The Nepalese government is now concentrating on increasing arrivals from neighbouring countries. Nepal has witnessed political instability in recent months, with violent protests breaking out, and this also does not help. The government said that restoring damaged monuments will take time as conservation norms have to be observed. However, Nepal continues to offer stunning scenery and is a trekker's delight, something officials are reminding holiday makers.
The fourth edition of a carnival held once in 12 years about Buddhist spirituality, culture and tradition has begun in India's northern Ladakh region. The festival marks the 1000th birth anniversary of the saint Naropa.
Hundreds of monks, devotees and tourists flock to India's Ladakh region in northern Jammu and Kashmir province for a Buddhist festival called Naropa. It is held in the tranquil Himalayan village that includes a palace and monastery located some 28 miles from the region's main town of Leh. Christened after the Indian scholar Saint Naropa, this is the biggest and most prominent Buddhist festival in the world and attracts tourists from across the globe. More than 200,000 devotees from neighbouring Bhutan and Nepal, including locals, are expected to attend the week-long celebrations.
तो ये नारोपा का जो इवेंट है, जो 12 साल की बात यहाँ पे मनाते हैं हर साल, तो आज ये जो इवेंट है बहुत ही अलग तरीके से मनाने का हमें मौका मिला, अवसर मिला, मतलब देख.
Dancers in bright silk costumes performed to drum and pipe music as part of the festival being held to commemorate the 1000th birth anniversary of Buddhist saint Naropa. The festival is a great display of rich Buddhist culture and tradition.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India successfully test fires long-range barricade surface-to-air missiles. Baloch leader demands end to custodial killings by Pakistan security forces. And devotees throng India's northern Ladakh to celebrate Buddhist festival. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.